Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Amy. I am a witch, and on this channel we talk about witchcraft, spirituality, and whatever I feel like talking about at the time. So a good friend of mine recently asked me if she said that she thought that she was dealing with an energy vampire, but she wasn't sure. She didn't know how to identify them, and she didn't know exactly what they felt like, and she was confused because she'd known a few empaths in her life. She had heard the term like tossed around, like empath is one of those terms that's kind of been taken to mean lots of things that it doesn't really mean. And so she was kind of like,
what is it? Maybe they're just an empath.
and I was like, that's not the same thing.
And she's like, well, what's the difference?
So now we're going to talk about what the difference is between a vampire, an energy vampire, and an empath, so that there's no confusion, I hope. So there are some specific traits of both, okay? So let's start with an empath. In the witching and psychic community, true empath is also known as clairsentient. So it is somebody who is psychically knowing or feeling, and empaths specifically are basically psychically feeling. So an empath is able to feel emotions and feelings and energy from other people, from like animals, and from situations, in rooms and everywhere. Like they're aware of and can feel emotions and energy, and sometimes to a really extreme degree. Feels things very deeply. They take on, they absorb the energy or the emotions around them. That means that they literally take on someone else's feelings. Sometimes an empath might be around somebody and have a mood. They might be just overwhelmingly sad, or they might be in a crowd and be overwhelmingly sad and not know where it came from or why they're feeling that way, but they are feeling that way. And then when they get some distance from the crowd or that person, the sadness starts to fade away, usually. And sometimes it'll go right away, and they'll realize that they don't know where it came from in the first place. Like maybe it wasn't even their feeling. And an experienced empath, somebody who has some training, some education about being an empath, will usually recognize that as basically been an emotional sponge. Empaths are like emotional sponges. So it's a gift that they have. There are a lot of skills and talents that can be honed around it. You can learn to help people by like feeling and understanding their emotions and their energy. You can also learn, if you're an empath, to try to block a lot of those things out and like sort of protect yourself when it's needed. An empath is somebody that just kind of soaks up other people's emotions. That being said, when I say that they soak up someone's emotions, it's like the other person's energy is overflowing. So whoever the sadness is coming from, it's like somebody, say person A is very sad and person B is not an empath. Person B could maybe see that person A is sad and say, oh, I'm sorry, give them a hug, that sort of thing, comfort them and feel empathy for them, but they won't actually physically feel the emotion that person is feeling. For an empath, say person C is an empath, person C goes to give person A a hug, and they might literally feel the sadness, the grief, the physical effects. It's like there's no barrier between person A's emotions and person C's like empathic abilities. Empaths usually have to learn how to channel like what they're going to take in and what they're not, and they usually have to learn how to put up specific types of shields to protect themselves from bombardment. Just too much input at one time. Sometimes empaths have a hard time being in crowds or around people who have a lot of emotions or who are emotionally unstable. So that's an empath. An empath is somebody who absorbs the emotions and energy that are around them. An energy vampire is somebody who cannot create their own energy. So energy vampires are drawn to people who have an excess of energy, sometimes these people, like they can be drawn to people who have like an endless, like overflowing fountain of energy. These people are known as feeders, for lack of a better term. These people are pretty much like endlessly energetic, like they always have something to give, and a lot of them will do so willingly because they've got to get it out, they've got to spend it, they've got to use it, they've got to do something with it, they've got a lot of energy, they got to get it out. So an energy vampire, like that's like a buffet, like that's the best. And honestly, like if an energy vampire can have an ethical pairing with a feeder, like that is usually ideal for both parties, because the feeder doesn't want to be that hyped all the time, and the energy vampire can't make their own energy. So the thing with energy vampires is that they have a lack of their own energy, like spring, basically. So they have to get it from somewhere. So if somebody is having extreme emotions, or if they're a feeder, then they will provide the energetic or emotional energy that an energy vampire needs. And when it comes to energy vampires, I think some prefer some types of energy over others, but really it could be any extreme emotion. Often they will start like fights or cause problems in like relationship problems, like they'll push buttons or be manipulative or whatever. I'm not saying that they're all like this. A lot of energy vampires don't know that they're energy vampires. They just have like habits and reflexes that they use to get what they need, because they actually have to have an income. Like they have to have basically an energy income, or else like they'll go broke and then they can get very sick. It is not a good thing for them. Energy vampires have to absorb other people's energy in order to live, really, in order to have quality of life. They have to have other people's energy. Empaths can't help other people's energy. The other main difference between an empath and a vampire is when a vampire takes somebody's energy, they're physically taking it. They're actually literally taking it. So the other person might feel like they'll start to feel drained, or say that they were like having a super good day and they were super, super happy and they're feeling really energetic and they're bouncing all over, and the energy vampire was like, I'll just take some of that. They might lose that mood. They might lose some of their energy. Some people are extremely susceptible and can like go into like a spiral of like depression and anxiety and just like lose their will to live. That's an extreme case. It doesn't happen to everybody. I'm gonna say most vampires like know, whether they're ethical vampires or not, they know better than to drain somebody that far. But yeah, so basically when an empath is taking someone's energy, they're not actually taking it away from them, they're just kind of sharing it. They're like sharing the experience, and they can't help that. And it's like emotional solidarity to the most extreme extent. But energy vampires actually take a portion of it. So like, imagine that you've got a swimming pool and the sad person is in the swimming pool. The empath would then like get in the swimming pool with the sad person. So it's like they're both feeling the water together. It's the same water, it's the same amount of water, but they're both having the same experience in the swimming pool. With an energy vampire, you'd have person A standing in the swimming pool, experiencing the swimming pool, and the energy vampire would probably be standing outside of the swimming pool, and they get a big straw and they'd like drink the swimming pool, or like drain it into their own swimming pool. So then this swimming pool goes down and the vampire swimming pool goes up. So that's really like the big difference between empaths and energy vampires, is that empaths can't help feeling things, but they're not actually taking it from anybody. But energy vampires are, they actually like, it's like actual vampirism. You know, they drink other people's energy, and that can, you know, have a range of effects. It could make somebody just a little bit tired, a little bit sleepy, a little less happy or whatever, or it could go to a completely other extreme that I'm not going to talk about in this video. So I hope that cleared some things up for you guys. I hope that you now understand the basic differences between an empath and an energy vampire. This video is not about like ethics or how to be an energy vampire or how to be an empath or how to protect yourself from any of those things. I have a vampire playlist that I will link somewhere, and it already has some of those topics I already cover, like ethical vampirism and how to protect yourself from a vampire and things like that. I don't have any videos, I don't think, about protecting yourself as an empath, how to like regulate yourself as an empath. I guess I can work on that, we'll see. Yeah, so that's it. Empaths, share the swimming pool. Vampires, empty the swimming pool. y'all, it's hot in Texas. It's hot. Thank you for watching. I super appreciate you clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, or you know somebody else who would enjoy it, find it informative or whatever, feel free to share it, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already, because it really helps out the channel, and I appreciate it. And then, like, more people can find the videos because of the algorithm. Leave your comments and questions down below. I try to get to as many people as I can, but more importantly, other people in the comments can also be really, really helpful, and I love that. Feel free to support me on Patreon if you want. Anyway, thank you for being here, guys. I hope you have